My name is Erika Rose and I'm from Peru, Indiana. So it was September of 2019. My dad and a couple of friends of ours were on a kayak trip. We came upon a rope swing and everybody thought it would be a good idea for me to go off of it. So we checked the water depth, make sure everything was okay. They just told me I'd be fine, just make sure you tuck your legs up and ball up. Well, I was a diver all through school, so instinct kicked in when I let go of the rope, ended up kicking my legs out straight and landed on the bottom of the river. It kind of hurt my ankle, but it just felt like when you jam your finger on a basketball. So I tried swimming and I was like, ooh, that didn't feel too good, so I just didn't kick with that foot anymore. It was when I went to push myself up into my kayak, I felt my foot flop over and hit me. And I was like, hey guys, my ankle's broke. So we ended up getting to the hospital, realized that I had completely dislocated my ankle from my foot. I had snapped my fibula in half and broke my tibia right underneath my knee. And when I first met with the surgeon, I was like, hey doc, go ahead and cut it off because I already did most of the work for you. And he was like, no, we're gonna get you fixed up. So I had 2 surgeries back to back. I had an external fixator on for 5 days. And then after they made sure I was clear of infection, they went back in and put all of the internal hardware in. Started to heal up from that, started walking. I was like, this is not right. I'm super uncomfortable. So then found out that 2 inches of my bone was dead. We had to go back in, do another surgery, this time a bone graft. So I started healing up from the bone graft. That one was a lengthy process. I was on crutches for a good 6 months before I was even allowed to start partial weight bearing. Once I did start, I was again super uncomfortable. I was like, something's not right. Everybody told me I was just going too fast. Well, no, went in, had more CT scans done, another MRI, found out that all of the bone graft didn't take, and then at this point arthritis had completely taken over my ankle. I didn't have an ankle joint anymore. So the next step, we were talking either amputation or an ankle fusion, and I wanted no part of the ankle fusion. I'd done plenty of research and I was like, it's just gonna limit me for the rest of my life, and I wasn't okay with that. I wanted to jump straight to the amputation, and he was like, so I'll amputate it, but I want you to go have a consultation with a prosthetist, Sean Brown. And I went and I had a lengthy conversation with him. He probably talked to me for an hour, hour and a half, and he told me all of the good, all of the bad. He just laid it all out on the table, and I pondered my decision, and then the next day I ended up calling and scheduling my amputation. I didn't want, the way I was heading, my quality of life was not what I wanted it to be. And if there was the chance with the amputation of being able to move forward and going back to the things that I used to do, I was like, it's worth a shot, because obviously I'm not gonna get there with this. And I was just so miserable for so long. I was like, there's gotta be something better. And then after my amputation, it was like that weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I had a great support system. My dad was 100% not on board at first. He was completely against it, as were most of my family members, which is why I kept it quiet. It's like, they can't come after me after I amputate it. It's not like I can put it back on. I can't grow it back. But my boyfriend was very supportive the whole time. His family was all for it. They just wanted me to get back to me, and that's what I wanted as well. After my amputation, everybody was just, they were all on board. They wanted the best for me, and they really pushed me to be where I am now.
My process is pretty simple. Either you want to do it or you don't. And you look pretty gung-ho towards wanting to do it. So I'm behind you 110% if that's what you want to do. And we'll get through this. And life will go on as it will. I mean, it's just a decision that you need to make. her having a leg, not having a leg, hasn't stopped her in the least bit. She gets up, she goes to work every single day, whether she feels like it or she doesn't, and is constantly striving to better herself with the situation without the prosthetic.
It's funny that she always puts it on the side of the bed all the time and just comes down the living room and then she just hops around sometimes and sits right there and just relaxes.
They mean the world to me. Had they not been there for me after my surgery, I might not have taken it as well, but they're waiting on me. I mean, essentially hand and foot, for lack of a better term. Whatever I needed, they were there. Just, they wanted the best for me, and they did anything and everything. I enjoy spending time with my family, Zach and Benny, most of all. We are always going and doing something, whether it be sitting at the house on a Friday night playing some Uno, we love that, but also just love being able to travel and see the world with those two. So in the very beginning, when I was going through all my surgeries and I was just researching every day, there's gotta be something better, there's gotta be something out there that I can do, I found a few people on Instagram, Facebook, watching YouTube videos of amputees who were just putting their story out there. And so after my amputation, I was like, these select people help me. I decided to make my own social media account, Peg Leg Lucy, and in hopes of just helping one other person. If I could reach one other person and by sharing my story, then everything I did was worth it. And I've had so many people reach out to me telling me how much my story has helped them, and it just brings joy to my heart. It makes me feel so good, and the whole reason I made it is it came full circle.